absolutely breaking massive news when it comes to not only the UFC, but also the Russian Ultimate Fighter. As we get the two team captains' names for the next reality TV show season. You guys, I want to start off first by talking about UFC 327 that will be taking place not on April 4th. There's a break on April 4th, but April 11th, the following Saturday. We heard that not only is Johnny Walker, Dominic Reyes going to be on that card, we also heard that JDM, the former welterweight champion of the world who just lost it to Islam Makhachev as Islam decided to vacate the lightweight bout, move up to the welterweight division. JDM will be facing Carlos Prates, the Nightmare. Yes, cigarette smoking, ridiculous knockout power who just obliterated Leon Edwards and one of the knockouts of the year against Geoff Neal's spinning elbow. All right? Not only are we going to get those fights, but I'm hearing that the first, it's official. It's not going to be the main event, I don't believe, but Yuri Prochazka will be taking on Carlos Ulberg, the number 3 ranked light heavyweight fighter in the division. 13-1, 9-1 of the UFC on a 10-fight win streak. Yuri Prochazka, former light heavyweight world champion. Samurai warrior, coming back from one of the greatest comebacks of 2025 and possibly of Yuri Prochazka's career, as he was going down 2 rounds to Khalil Roundtree. Ended up coming back, getting the ridiculous knockout in round 3. And a lot of people talk about Yuri Prochazka being one of the comeback fighters of the year. Now, this is absolutely breaking news. 3 fight announcements on UFC 327 that is making this card absolutely stacked. We heard the breaking news, if you haven't seen, that Alexander Pantoja, who they say it was his shoulder, but it looked like broken, popped out his elbow back at UFC 323 against Joshua Van. Joshua Van finally getting the title shot. And we remember how the fight went down. If you don't remember, it barely started in the first minute of the fight. A couple exchanges. You had Alexander Pantoja throw a high kick. Joshua Van caught the high kick. He pushes him a little bit. And as Alexander Pantoja is falling down, looking to post with his left arm, as he posts, his arm just goes in. Boom! And oh my goodness, Joshua Van is the new flyweight world champion, and it was sad to see Alexander Pantoja lose it like that in what was going to be his 5th title defense. But absolutely great news when it comes to Alexander Pantoja, because he has released that his injury does not need surgery. He will not be undergoing surgery and is looking to return as soon as the summer comes, my friends, which could either be May, June, or July. Now, we were looking for a main event when it came to UFC 327. With the way the card's looking already, I thought that would have been a perfect fit. The return of Alexander Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Even though some people don't like to see flyweight fights as main events, it was a stacked card anyways, as it is. Now, that's going to be on April 11th. So if Alexander Pantoja is saying he's not going to be returning until the summer, then we know for a fact that's not possible. But possibly UFC 328, UFC 329, my people. It's going to be absolutely insane, and it's great news to hear if you're an Alexander Pantoja fan. Interesting to see what's going to happen now, if they're still going to schedule Joshua Van to fight somebody like Tatsuro Taira or Manel Kopp, or are they just going to wait it out since Joshua Van doesn't have anything scheduled, and us being scheduled all the way to up to what? The 28th of March, and April 4th taking a break, and April 11th being UFC 327. I don't see it happening in the next 3 months, a fight for Joshua Van. But, which means it still could lead into a possible fight between Alexander Pantoja, Joshua Van, before Manil Copper or Tatsuro Taira wants to get a chance. Due to Pantoja being able to return in the summer, and now if the UFC wants to schedule this fight to happen during that time, it all matters. It's all going to matter on how Dana White and everybody decides to run this game. But not only is that the breaking news for the UFC, but the Russian Ultimate Fighter, the reality TV show that brought in Nate Diaz and John Jones for the last season, will be bringing back John Jones, but against who? My goodness. Bringing back one of the most nasty, one of the most vicious, one of the most exciting rivalries when it comes to the history of UFC, Daniel Cormier. Yup, you guys. Oh, when I seen this, I said, how is this going to turn out? Is DC old enough now to not get booty tickled if John Jones and some of John Jones' teammates start to act dumb? Because if you never watched this reality TV show, I recommend just go watch the introduction where they introduce the fighters to the teams. And tell me you don't think that some of these crazy guys from Russia are going to want to start beef because of the respect that they have for John Jones. And because DC's there, this could end up turning out to be another exciting, absolutely nasty season. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Finally, DC, I mean, he's not going to be fighting the guy, but he will be coaching against him. And we all know DC wants to get a win over this guy. At UFC 182, they fought. And John Jones beat him. But if you guys don't remember, a month before that fight, John Jones had failed a drug test for cocaine. Yup, they found cocaine in John Bones' system. He said a week before the fight he was partying. And because of this, they didn't, change the fight into a no decision or anything like this, because at the time, USADA didn't end up joining the UFC until what, like June, July of 2015 when he failed the drug test. This was in January, which was still being drug tested by the company WADA. And at the time, WADA, cocaine was not a banned substance on the off season. As long as you weren't, fighting with it or, doing anything, stupid with it, you could have it in your system. It was not a banned substance under WADA. So that fight still remains a win for John Jones. Now, they were supposed to fight at UFC 200, the rematch. I mean, vicious rivalry, guys, talking about kids, talking about I'll kill you, spit in your face, just hitting at each other's lives, right? This was a fight that DC was, talking crap on the life and how John Jones was living, going to jail, doing all these illegal stuff. And it was just absolutely a vicious, nasty thing to see, but also exciting. Now, UFC 200 comes. DC, a couple days before the fight is supposed to take place, finds out the breaking news that John Jones has been pulled from the fight following a drug test that he took that failed for 2 different drugs. That, look it, man, you can call it what you want if they were steroid blockers, right? Because one of the drugs that was found inside this pill that he claims he took was a drug that actually solidifies, it hides steroids, and you can't see certain things with it. But in this pill that he took, that he said he took for sex, it had 2 banned substances that you could not compete in the UFC for. So they stripped them and they stopped the fight, and DC went absolutely depressed, even though DC still ended up getting his heavyweight shot. Who did he beat? Anthony Rumble Johnson, I believe, to win the title. The fight ended up taking place at UFC 214, okay? And once again, John Jones gets the victory, right? He knocks out DC, but once again fails another drug test. Another one. And when you look at DC's record at that second fight with John Jones, it was a no contest. You guys, this is absolutely insane to see the fact that they are finally coming together again to film this reality TV show that was absolutely insane. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but let me know in the comments how you guys are feeling about this, man. It's insane news. This is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel. My name is Alex Ramos. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm out.